Now you all must be aware of greed and fear. You must have heard it so many times, you must have read practically every day in the newspapers, greed, fear, greed, fear, greed, fear. Now, these two emotions are one of the most common and the severest emotions in any human being. We had this discussion just now, about half an hour back. 2008, why people didn't invest? It was because of fear. Today, markets are going up with all the reasons why people want to invest. It's because of greed. Now, knowing about greed, knowing about fear is one thing. But how we make decisions when we are guided by greed or fear in times of uncertainty is the challenge. It's the work of two Israeli economists, Daniel Kahneman and Amon Tversky. Both they received the Nobel Prize also on their work on behavioral economist. And this prospect theory is one of the pillars of behavioral finance. Now, it's all about how we make decisions in terms of uncertainty, how we make decisions we are faced with risk, how we behave in our personal and investment decisions when greed and fear catches us. Now, as far as our feelings towards our losses, fear only comes when there are losses. Our feelings towards losses, we suffer from two strong biases. One is loss aversion and the another is status quo bias. Sunk cost. And as far as your feeling towards profits or greed are concerned, you have the status quo bias or the decision paralysis and the endowment effect. Now we start one of our first quizzes. Each one of you, please participate. As I told you, even being lazy, being greedy, there is nothing good or bad. It is just that. So here also, it's not right or wrong. It's what you feel. Now, how many times have you heard these statements? Or have you made these statements? I want to play safe. I would rather be happy with 7% interest than take risk in the market. I had bought DLF at 600, saw a of 1300 and a low of 150. Today it is 350. I am still holding on and I know it will go up. I was lucky to participate in the tech boom, made good profits in Infosys and Wipro early. I still hold Pentafort, DSQ, Visual. I could not sell them as they went down after my purchase. I betted on the real estate sector with a 30% exposure. The sector is doing badly and this has given me the chance to buy low and now I have 80% exposure. I am sure to recover my losses as stocks are bound to recover. Now, I am sure with all these statements, all of you will relate yourselves to it. Everyone has to, because there is no way, because this is how we human beings are thinking. And there are different reasons. Like I had bought DLF at 600, saw a high of 1300 and low of 150, today is 350. I am still holding and I know it will go up. Now, it could be his conviction in the company. That's why I told you that things may be overlapping. It is how, on what basis you are making a decision. That's why when you make a decision, what are the things you have to bear in mind and write them down, that why have you made a decision, because you tend to change course halfway. Now it is 350. There are so many behavioral reasons for it. One is he is anchored to the price of 1000. That's why he is thinking that 350 still is a low price. Secondly, they think since he has seen a low of 150, he believes that 350 now it cannot go below that. So there are various behavioral anomalies working in this particular sentence. But once you are aware of the behavioral anomalies, you will be able to realize that these anomalies would be certain anomalies at a certain point of time and certain anomalies at another point of time. It depends at that point of time what is your state of mind, state of reference when these anomalies come in. That's why these anomalies would be very unique to different individuals. I want to play safe. I would rather be happy with 7% interest than take the risk in the market. Now, if this is said by a retired person, then I would say that he wants to be safe, then take the risk in the market. Is right. If he is 80 years old, this thing is bidding his time, so why should he take the risk? But if it is said by a 30-year-old child, this thing kid, then I think it's a bad behavioral anomaly. When he has another 50 years to face in this life, the challenge which would come would be very different. Lucky to participate, made good profits in Infosys, good Wipro. Well, he made good profits because he saw he thought the tech sector should go down or not. Then why is he holding Pentafort DSQ Visual? Nobody knows that. We'll know it over a period of time. He did not sell them because they went below his purchase price. Maybe he was anchored to the purchase price, we don't know. Real estate sector went down, very good, everyone requires real estate. He would have bought it 30%. Now it's gone down, he's increased exposure. From his point of view, what was he thinking would be very different from what our point of view was. And for that reason, let's take this quiz. I have given you 1000 rupees. I've just given you, each one of you 1000 rupees each. And I've given you two options. One is, if you choose option A, straight I'll just come and give you 500 rupees. And if you choose option B, then I'll flip a coin. If it's heads, you'll make another 1000 rupees. So you'll end up having 2000 rupees. And if it tails, you will not getting anything. You'll be left with the 1000 rupees I've given you. Now, how many would choose A? How many would choose B? Okay, we've got fairly equal number. Okay, now there's a quiz. Now I become a little more magnanimous and I'm giving you 2000 rupees each. Again I give you an option A. If you choose option A, you just come and straight give me 500 rupees. If again it's option B, then we'll flip a coin. If it heads, you'll have to give me another 1000 rupees. And with tails, you will lose nothing. Okay, how many for A? A. You just straight give me 500 rupees. You sure? Okay. Then B? B. Okay. Now, let's go to quiz 1. How many chose A in quiz 1? And how many of those people chose A in quiz 2 also? Same people were only few? Everyone had changed. Okay. How many chose B? I mean in quiz 1 B? Quiz 1 B. Did you choose B in quiz 2 also? No. Quiz 2 also. Okay. Okay. So now what was the thought process going on? Why did people choose A in quiz 1? Okay. Why did people choose A? Any idea? Yes. Anybody who chose A, at least if you chose, then you will tell me. Surety of additional money. If it was surety of additional money, why did only half the class say it is we want this? So what did the other think? What did the other half think? some extra money or no money also. Okay? Good. Okay, why did guys choose A? Who would choose losing? Why did you choose A?
You still get
I beg your pardon?
you still get 1500 without any risk.
15. You still get 1500 without any risk. Okay. Anybody for a different answer than this? B. How many chose B? I mean, those who chose B, what's the thinking behind it? Okay, those of you chose guaranteed A, loss of 500. Did you choose gain of 500 also? Yes. You got your thing. Now, this is what it is, that when we are making decisions, when you take a short shot, you are playing it safe. Yeah. Now, it was the frame of the question which was very important, that in the right rational human being point of view, if the same person chose A in the both things, it was the right way of looking at finances. Now, it is the right way from a rational point of view. If only such people existed, then casinos will never be there, you know. Because of these people, because then you cannot have, because it's a total rational. No, I want this, my money, I want to play safe. Now, when there was a profit, more people opted for A because, okay, this thing, bush in hand is worth than two in the trees. Now, when the second question came, what people missed out on was the linkage between the A and the B, I mean the first quiz and the second quiz. In A, if you chose to be at a comfort level of 1500 rupees, and if you choose again in B, I mean in the second quiz A, you in the same comfort level. So, when people look at their portfolios in totality, this is how they look at it. But what happens is, when the questions are framed in a different way, that you are guaranteed to lose 500, that's where people run away. Because we like the word profits, we don't like the word loss. So what happened was, most of you, they saying, blindly or emotionally, they saying, discarded, nahi, loss to mangta hi nahi hai. And you chose to flip off a coin. And it is like this thing, it is because of this behavioral anomaly that casinos actually run. They think people don't leave the casinos is because they are always trying to prove themselves, no, they will win. They will always flip a coin. If heads you lose 1000, tail will I will lose nothing anyway. Let me try. So this is actually known as loss aversion. The pain of a loss, it has been proved, is 3 times more than the pleasure of an equal amount of gain. It's really more. I'll give you an example. Suppose you are working on your comp in your house, and there's an one day you get an electric shock over there. You think next day you will go there without calling the electrician? You will not go there till it is repaired. But as far as pleasure is concerned, you guys will be just out of college. You may be owning 2-wheelers or small Maruti cars. Slowly, when you had your first Maruti, you would be really excited about it. Then after 6 months, you would want another car, you want a Honda City, then you want a Honda Accord, because pleasure over a period of time goes on boring. There have been so many incidents when you have got certain things, when that acquisition is through, when you have spent some time with it, then you are always aspiring for more. And that is the reason that everyone is in the rat race. Everyone is in the rat race, because you got one sort of pleasure, then again that pleasure loses its value, and then again you want another pleasure. As against that, when pain is more terrifying, it makes you work in an opposite way. They say that you start playing it very safe, conservatively safe, because you don't then start taking risk. You don't take any decisions because the pain is so much that it puts you into a decision paralysis mode. That's why investors take more risk when they are faced with a loss and more conservative to lock in short profits. That's why if you see in the first person, that person, he made good money in the tech stocks. So he sold off his winners, sold off Wipro, sold off Infosys. But when the losses were coming, he did not want to take. With all your investors, it would be the same. It would be the same. We will hold on to losers and sell off the winners, because that's why you always say, that's why it's a paradox that investments have done well but investors have done poorly, because it is we who are the problem, not the investment. The investing class is not the problem, it's our decisions. And in a loss aversion sort of a situation, what is the frame of reference? Now today when I told 2008, that means the world order had collapsed. So the frame of reference was, no, it was bad, it was bad. So the way it was framed, no, we don't want to buy. And at that point of time, if you rewind back to yourself, that time what was there? USA is collapsing, everything is collapsing, the world is not going to remain. Dollar is going to become toilet money. Everything was that way, so you don't feel like doing anything. The frame of reference. Loss aversion deals with that the pain of a loss is 3 times than the pleasure of an equal amount of gain, and your decisions are based on the frame of the reference, that how the question has been framed to you. Guaranteed win, anybody likes. That's why in the market, when you see your stocks, guaranteed win, anybody likes. Okay, let me sell off. But when there is a guaranteed loss, well, you go away. Let me see, let us wait, let us see what the finance minister says. Maybe something will come. Yesterday I saw the employment figures were very good. Now the II numbers were good. You start then giving a reason for it. The stock market as had become volatile, not for none of the reasons which you are just now thinking. The economists have given you these reasons after everything has happened. That's why you read everything the next day after the market is going up. Hope someone could tell you, nahi, aaj market 800 points niche jaane wala hai. Nobody can tell you that. How many slices do you want in your pizza cut? Make it 4. I'm not hungry enough to eat 8. Now, this is a frame of reference. This is a frame of reference. So many times, we are getting into such traps. Nahi, bhook nahi hai, nahi, itna hi khayega. But no, but the pizza is the same thing. That's why the question is the same thing, the framing is different. Now imagine you are planning a week's vacation in a warm spot over spring break. You have currently 2 options that are reasonably priced. The travel brochure gives limited amount of information about 2 options. Which spot would you prefer with the given information? This is spot A, average beaches, medium quality hotel, medium temperature, water, average nightlife. B, lots of sunshine, gorgeous beaches, coral reef, luxurious hotels, very cold weather, strong winds, no nightlife. How many for A? How many for B? Anyway, these are all personal choices. These are personal choices, so I'm not going to ask you what you chose, because anybody can choose. But when this experiment was conducted, there was a different frame of reference. Imagine you are planning a week's vacation in a warm spot over spring break. You have 2 options, A and B, which are reasonably priced. But you no longer can retain both reservations. They were marked in bold. The travel brochure gives only limited amount of information about the 2 options. Given the information, which reservation would you like to cancel? The question is the same as that it was in the first. The choice is the same, but the framing is different. When this exercise was undertaken, in the initial stages, like our class, about 64% of them told it's B. But when this frame of reference was kept, that they're saying, it went down to about 48%. The question was the same, but the decision making change because now. And this is what happens to you in your daily lives is when you are given certain decisions in forms where you have to check if you want it, or if you don't want it, then you check. Even when you go on the websites and all, there are so many times they say, if you don't require the mails from us, unsolicited mails, then check. If you require but normally we don't check. So it's a question which is framed in such a way that you go on inviting them to give you. And the guy who is getting all those mails over there gets his bonuses because he's devised in such a way that his boss is very happy with him. Oh, they're saying so many people happy with your ad campaign, so many things are coming. But it's only the terms of reference have changed. That's why sensitivity to a loss leads people to opt for a certain gain over one that offers a higher possibility of a larger gain. It's sensitivity, it's loss aversion. Now, how many times you have heard in the this thing that people or newspapers talking about risk aversion? Every time they talk about people are risk averse. It was just 2 days in the newspapers also. Oh, people are risk averse, that's why now they are not getting into the market and all. Mind you, how many of you would tell that you are risk averse? Yes. And how many of those risk averse people are in the stock markets? In the stock markets. So those who are risk averse over here, nobody is in the stock markets, nobody is an investor. Nobody is an investor. Yeah. Now, actually nobody who is there in the stock market can be risk averse. He has to be only loss averse. He or she has to be only loss averse. Because if you are risk averse, you will never enter the markets. Because like some of them, they say, no, we are risk averse, we don't enter. But those who are in the markets, they have to be loss averse. And when you are loss averse, there are a whole lot of things which you have to understand that you cannot do or how you can rectify. And those of you who are so loss averse or so risk averse that you don't want to be in the market, there are a whole lot of things you have to understand that it's not the end of the day that if you take certain decisions, it will ultimately help you. You will get these answers, I think, by the end of our session. Now, this is how investors behave due to loss aversion. They tend to go in for sure gains. What is it? All the references which are, okay, I don't mind keeping my money in bonds or fixed deposits. It's a sure gain. Take more risk when threatened with a loss. Remember quiz 2? Everyone opted, most of them opted for B because it's a guaranteed loss. I don't want the loss. I'll flip a coin. And that loss could have been higher. Then they prefer fixed income investments over stocks. How many of you are doing derivative trading, margin trading, and at the same time having fixed deposits in banks and all? This is loss aversion, because in margin trading you are paying 18% interest, fixed deposit you are getting 6-7% interest. This is the loss you are doing to yourself because of your loss aversion. You are no better off or worse off using that money into margin trading because your savings would be much more. But most of the time we are not understanding what we are doing, that's why we are. So if you are loss averse, of course I've got another full session, it will not come today, we'll take it tomorrow, on what to do if you are loss averse and all, or what to do of any anomalies, because that's going to be the most important. But you got to understand these anomalies better, because then you will only be able to understand your own selves. This is tendency to mark all of your portfolios who are investors. You will have 3-4 winners followed by a whole list of losers. This has to be there, they say. Because of loss aversion, profit mila, that's why you always ask your friends, whenever I make a profit, I make in thousands only, and whenever I lose in lakhs only. It's because of your problem. It's not that, because everyone it happens the same thing. Because thoda bhi upar jata hai, what do you do? Yes. Another important part in this is when you calculate returns, This is one of the biggest mistake you should be making. What is stock investing? Is buying a business. Don't think stock investment is buying a stock which someone tells you will go up. When you are buying a business, your idea is that business, if you start a business, your fathers, they saying, uncles, they would be having businesses. It has taken time for that to grow. They go by the law of the farm. Now, when you are into the investment scheme, or when you are investing, when you buy a stock and when it goes up, what you count is, बैंक में रखा था मेरे को 6% मिलता था. I bought it, they're saying, just एक महीना भी नहीं हुआ and I am getting 80% return. Now, but that return is a wrong way of doing it. It is only a loss-averse mind will calculate that return. Or this thing, a return, this thing that is with, you have excessive fear in you and excessive vain in you, this thing pride in you. That's why you want to show that you are making a profit 80%, but I'll ask you one question. Can you, this thing, repeat that gain every week, every 10 days? That's what I'd ask one person over there. You cannot just go on repeating that gain. So, considering that as a return, is a very bad frame of reference. With that frame of reference, then you start selling off all your losers, because everywhere you start counting, this is my profit, so this is the return I've got. Yeah.
So, how would you define losers? Because there might be some stocks that you actually invested in, say at a price of say 200, 130, now you invested into it looking at a target price of say 600.
Correct.
But after you took it up, it went down to say 50. You would hold it still, saying that it will go up to 600.
No.
At that time, you call it a loser because it is losing money for sure.
Yes, yes.
So would you call it a loser at that point in time, and what would you do?
No, see, I'll tell you, that's why I told you this. Most of these concepts over here would be overlapping. I take your point, it is not wrong also. Here it is up to you to understand. Okay, why have you taken the decision? Now, if you have taken a decision that you believe in the stock, then I would say go ahead and buy it more also. We'll come through all those things when we do, how we treat them, you know, what are the exercises. Because there, as I told you, there are no right, even I don't have any right answers for this. We are trying to just engage ourselves to understand that these are the mistakes we will do. Now, if you could have bought a stock, you go on buying a loser more and more because of your vanity, then it's a wrong thing. But because of your conviction and your self-discipline, now that will come is when you bought your stock, you put it down on paper, I am buying this stock because of this, so many reasons. And then when it goes down, you ask yourself, has any of these reasons changed? No, they have not changed. If they have not changed, I am on the right track. That's why I told you in my opening remarks, what is ultimately it is your self-discipline. You cannot lose your self-discipline. You cannot sell a stock because it has gone down, and which 90% of the people around you do that. That's why investors find a stock less risky when everyone is buying it and stock prices is going up, and they find it more risky when nobody is buying it. Actually, it should be the opposite. That has to be. So, when when your stocks are going down, you have to question your judgment when you bought it. You cannot be guided by you may have bought it in a bull market and still it could be the one of the best buys. I'll tell. Like Maharashtra scooters. I had bought it at 450 rupees also. At 60 rupees also I believed in it, so I could buy it. But that time there are two ways you can get stuck. Okay, 450 mein liya, they say, how can I make this decision? That will only come when your self-belief is less. Secondly is, like someone had questioned, well, I had invested everything over there, so they think now I didn't have the money also. At that point, the biggest decision, the biggest thing of loss aversion comes is, can I take the decisions? If I had made the wrong decisions, can I get rid of that, get that money and now make a fresh beginning there? So many times people will tell you, hey, you buy this, you buy this, you have this, you sell this. That time you have to ask different questions to yourself, that why should I buy it? It's only a self-exercise which you do, which you will learn over a period, and then you will start noticing that decision making is very simple. Well, this irrationality is so much embedded in us that it can be changed. say, I think that's the positive line from this, that we are making decisions which are based out of more of a habit. Now that habit has to change, and we can always change our habits. And your habits can only change when your thoughts change, because everything starts with a thought, thought to an action, action to a habit. Now if you can do that, believe me, it's very simple. I started my career as stockbroker. Still, on my table, I don't have any screen on my table. No, I do look at a screen anytime. Otherwise, a stockbroker, if you visualize a stockbroker saying he has to have 5 people sitting next to him, telling them that what's the next best stock to buy, and then you have a screen, plus you have CNBC going, ET Now going, everything going on. That's how you would visualize. If you come to my cabin, there is nothing of those sort, not even a TV. Now, this is possible because of self-discipline. And if I can do it, then I'm sure any one of you willing to change the course can do it. There's no point in being with something which you have always been accustomed to. Now, after this loss aversion, what happens is, when your feelings towards your losses gets you into loss aversion. And the second bias is, we'll find out after we take the quiz. Now you have complimentary tickets for a Filmfare Award night. On the evening of the program, there's severe rainstorm and traffic is disrupted due to floods. Maybe you have to travel from North Goa to South Goa, would be right? Would you go? You have complimentary tickets, it's dangerous, would you go? No. How many yes? Yeah, hardcore. Now you have bought rupees 1500 instead of getting them free. The same conditions happen. Would you go? Yes. Really, would you go? Or are you making a joke of it? What was the rational process in the mind? What was the question you asked in your mind when you decided to go for this, when you decided not to go for that? There was so much of loud laughter, and also I want to know this thing. What was the reason for not going? How did you tackle this question? Because there's a way to tackle. Yes.
In the first scenario, because I hadn't paid for it, it wasn't a loss for me, even if I did go to something, I was confident. The second scenario, because I've paid for it, if I don't go, it's a loss to me, I'm losing money on it.
Okay. Anybody else with her? Yeah.
I will not be responsible because I have paid some cost now, so I don't want to go to the pain of going to the shop and the plastic, but I will do some cost.
So your question is about risk. I don't want to take the risk.
It's about some cost. The money is now a some cost. It was gone. I already paid for the ticket.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's coming. I can't go there.
No, complimentary you'll go. Complimentary you'll go. It's the same thing as what she's saying. Okay, you won't go in both the cases. That's what I'm telling you. That's why your reference is, why should I take the risk? You are not even concerned with the price or anything. You don't want to take the risk. You don't want to brave the storm.
I'm not taking that much. I'm thinking to me would be a some. Since I've already paid for it.
You have, but when you had a complimentary also, you are not going. No, you didn't pay for it. When you had complimentary, then you should be going. No, if it is sunk cost. Anybody else with? Sorry, please, sir.
I saw this with respect to the value I associated with this.
Yeah.
So I films there to actually give away this comfort of being at home and nothing.
Brave the storm. Brave the storm. Yeah. So so your idea. So you told no for both the things. Yeah, that is a storm. Most of the people. Most of the people, they think the question was all about, would you risk the storm? The question was, would you risk the storm? But when your personal finances come in, you attach a value to it. You attach a value, what is gift is free and what you have paid is there. But actually if you go to see, it was costing 1500 rupees, because even if you had got it as a gift, your mind told you that this is gift and this is, you have paid for it. But you are losing the event. The event in question is the Filmfare Award. Now, would you go for the Filmfare Award? No, I will not go because I don't want to weather the storm. Or I will go irrespective that if I weather the storm. But if you think that because you have paid and because you have not paid, then you are definitely trying to get into the sunk cost. Now you mean sunk cost. The lady over there, you told me that, well, it's sunk. But then they are saying, what happened to the complimentary? Complimentary was there. It was not even sunk for you because you are not paid for it. So normally sunk cost is that you put good money after bad money. Normally this is one of the cases where in investments, what would you do? Your question, that when it is going down, they think I am buying there. Now there could be a reason, like I told you about loss aversion, it could be the sunk cost also. They had already put in sunk cost. There could be, in this case, there is another concept of mental accounting which conflicts. The concept of mental accounting, we'll be doing it tomorrow, is that you attach different values to the same amount of money. Money is fungible. Now, here also what they're saying, what you started doing was, I've got a complimentary ticket, but it was worth 1500 rupees. If the storm was not there, you would value that 1500 rupees. But because of the storm, you want to waste that because you did not pay for it. You got a gift for it. You had paid for it, it's the same thing. So in sunk cost fallacy, what people do is, we try, first is average cost of what you call purchases. That's the first thing which comes to my mind. Okay, you buy certain things because no, it's going down, so I have put in something, so let me go after it. You increase your commitments to only justify your past actions. Because your ego is tied to the commitment. Now this is not in the case of the quiz. The quiz, there was nothing of an ego. Quiz was a different thing. But normally in a sunk cost fallacy, what people do is, you try to increase your commitments. Like most of the people, they think, I want to go for the Filmfare Award night. No, irrespective of what may be, I will go for it. Go for it. It increase your commitment to a statement made. But if the storm was the factor, then you have to delink it from that, and then sunk cost will not hit you. This is what is happening to the banking industry. Now when a person goes to the bank, this thing, borrows business run into the bank, the bankers, they ask, the way they go, oh, he is our old customer, let us give him the money. But the question should be, does this business require to be given money? If it is an old customer, the banks go on giving him money, then it is again sinking good money after bad money. And if the question is right, that he is our old customer, he is in this business, does this business require another fresh infusion of capital? Should we give it to him? Then definitely the bankers are behaving as if there is no sunk cost. But otherwise bankers start treating, and that is what you already see, they say, that the state of our financial institutions, if you have seen, is the result of sunk cost fallacy. Even the projects, the big projects which take place, are there, they take 5 years to fructify. But by that point of time, tons of cement and steel are already lying at those places. And what to do? No, let the project go on. Our public sector units, the way they have gone, this thing, they have not been able to this thing beat the private sector is mostly because of the sunk cost. Averaging cost of purchases. How many times do you think you have bought a stock and then you feel that it's going down? So, well, guys, you think I'm going to buy more, I'm going to buy more, because your sunk cost is actually working. This is where sunk cost is very important. Spending on repairs. An asset has a life. So many times people do is, they have got a car which is 10 years old. Last year they put in new tires. Year before last they changed the brake linings. This year the gearbox requires an overhaul. So they go and get the gearbox, because they are not asking the question whether the asset is equally this thing has served its purpose and it should be out, or should I go on repairing. And this is typical in our Indian scenario, because you have guys who are available who repair things, you know. That's why you go on going them, because in some of these advanced developed countries you are forcibly asked to throw out the asset after a certain amount of years. But here, because your environment is such, you tend to be trapped into the sunk cost fallacy. At any point of time, I had a client of mine. Every time he would be only putting his good money after bad money. His house, he did the same thing. His car, he did the same thing. His investments, he did the same thing. And at every point of time, he was successful investor in every way, but sunk cost fallacy ultimately saw to it that he had to migrate from Bombay to his hometown. It was only a person who was smart but greedy, not willing to let go of his commitment to his past actions. I just mentioned to you government spending on favorite unviable projects. This is what happens, and it will happen to you all in your life also, that whenever you will have to make certain decisions, you will have to de-link yourself from the past. Most of us are not able to de-link from the past. We believe that this is mine, this is there. No, this is something which is a vehicle I am using. Like from here, if you want to go to a place, there are a whole lot of vehicles which will be available. Either you can go walking, you can go by a bicycle, you can take a taxi, you can take a car, you can take a bus. But just falling in love with what you have already done, you are making a mistake of sunk cost fallacy. Suppose if you are going here by taxi, do you then buy the taxi also over there? Because taxi has served its purpose from going from one place to another. But sunk cost fallacy, helps you to get into that trap. Sunk cost fallacy would help you, to again call the taxi fellow, again tomorrow, kal leke gaya tha, aaj bhi aa jana. Now these are the type of decisions which would start hampering you when you are sunk cost. You remember Three Idiots, the movie? I'm not cut out for engineering, but I go as my father is keen on becoming a. This is another case of a sunk cost, because the father has already spent money on him going to the engineering college, and you know, you've seen the movie, you know what has happened. These are all cases. Then how many times you have bought a book, you have purchased it, and you just finish it up just because you have bought it, although the book is boring. Was it worth wasting all that money which you wasted just in that book? Just discard it. You made a bad decision, but we are not willing to take a bad decision because it was made for us. So much on car repairs last year, would have been better buying of a new car. Just explained to you about that. Secondly, it's not always what you do that hurts, but what you choose not to do is also very important. We get feedbacks on decisions what we make, but we don't get feedbacks on decisions which we throw off. And that is the challenge of understanding decision making.